Manchester City make it 4 wins from 4 in their Champions League group, meaning they are through to the knockout stages of the Champions League. Welcome to We're Not Really Here. Joining me, Kyle Walker, we've got Richard Dunn, Paul Dickoff and Natalie Pavalek as well. Let's jump straight into it. Let's talk about an interesting 90 minutes because, Paul, Manchester City, they seem to dominate throughout.
Yeah, they were, and you guys didn't want to tempt fate at half time, but Olympiacos were awful. They'd nothing, no intent about going forward, even when they had a shot off target, header off target in the last couple of minutes. There was no real intent there for it. But look, from Manchester City's point of view, 4 games, 12 points, fantastic. Qualified, you're through, relax the last couple of games, still want to win the group. But rest a few players with a busy schedule that we've got coming up.
Bit good. They got a shot on target, or not even on target, a shot at the end there, Richard.
Yeah, it was surprising because they showed no ambition all night and City completely dominated. So when they actually did get forward and got a shot away, you wonder why didn't they do it a few minutes before or a little bit earlier. But no, City were completely dominant and it was good to get minutes for Aguero and Fernandinho coming back in.
I did say it was interesting, and that's because Ali Mann said something which I'd like to echo. Manchester City are probably never going to get an easier game in the Champions League, Paul. It really felt like every single time Olympiacos got the ball, I just thought Manchester City will pick it up very soon, and they did. Yeah,
and it showed with the pressing. Olympiacos in their play, whenever they did have the ball, which wasn't very often, you play in some games sometimes where the opposition you're playing against are better than you as individuals and teams, but you've still got to have a little bit of a go about it as well. I just felt that from the first minute that they felt they're inferior and didn't really want to do anything to change that.
What do you think then was going through their manager's head when he was getting this set up tonight? Do you think he was? I mean, you mentioned at half-time, Paul, possibly playing to keep the goal difference down so that they can try and get into the Europa League spot. But from your experience as players, is that realistically something that a manager might do or say?
I don't know, really. It's difficult, isn't it? I think you're looking at the performance today and they know 100% Man City's better than us. It's going to be difficult. So what do we do? And they just sit back and they're hoping for a situation late in the game where they might get a long ball into the box. And we've all seen the different crazy decisions throughout the season. You might get a handball, you might get a foul, you might get a penalty or whatever it may be. And it's just trying to stay in the game. And they defended really deep, but they still conceded like 25 shots. Do you know what I mean? So thankfully the goalkeeper was performed well, or otherwise it would have been a big score. But they come with a plan which didn't work, and they didn't have plan B to try and go and attack, and they just couldn't get out.
And I think it summed it up at the start of the second half before it had even kicked off, and the Olympiacos manager was on the side like that. So I think that summed it up for me even before the second half had kicked off.
Manchester City dominated in possession, shots in target. Also, we did eventually break the deadlock, 36 minute with Phil Foden. When a team does try and defend against Manchester City, they will find a way to break you down. And it was a really impressive team goal, wasn't it, Paul?
Yeah, it was. And, there was signs just before that. There was a lot of good play, a lot of good interplay. And the goal itself, fantastic ball by Ilkay Gundogan. Great run by Raheem Sterling. We're talking about the fantastic back heel and how difficult it was to carry that off. But it was a run when teams are defending deep. You need to stretch them, and he's made a great run in behind, and the back heel back to Phil. And we've seen last week, we've seen in the last 18 months that if Phil gets a chance in front of goal, especially in his left foot, he's going to score. So it's a fantastic goal.
Yeah, because in talking about how bad Olympiacos were, we don't want to downplay the positives from our side. And as you say, that was a great team goal, great finish by Phil. And there's lots of other positives we can take from the game in the performance, but also in the fact that we got to see Aguero, Zinchenko, Fernandinho all coming back and getting some important minutes in as well.
Yeah, that's a huge plus. I think the manager would have hoped for that and probably thought, he can bring them on when it's 2 or 3-0, but them goals never came. But then the guys got on the pitch to get the minutes, and it makes them available to start maybe at the weekend, and it adds an extra 3 bodies into the squad, and all of a sudden it's starting to look stronger again, and there's more competition for places. So it's very important that anyone who's been out for a while is coming back, and certainly for that Christmas period, having a full strength squad is going to be very important.
And then we saw towards the end of the game as well, around about the 86th minute, Tommy Doyle came on off the bench. Now, we absolutely love it when we see the youngsters come on. And that was his Champions League debut, Paul.
Yeah, it was, and look, I don't know if there was anything behind it, but I thought, a lovely touch, it would have been his granddad's 74th birthday today, so for him to come on today, and Tommy's a great kid, he's not just a fantastic player and got a great future as a person himself, he's a fantastic, so I thought, whether there was something behind it or not, I thought it was a lovely touch.
I hope there was. I hope Pep knew that.
It feels like Pep really trusts these players. Yes, it is 1-0. Yes, Manchester City are dominating. But for him to bring some of those younger players on, to even have them on the bench to look to them, Richard, it really does show that the future is bright for these players' careers.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to be part of a squad where you're taken along for the ride almost, and you're there for the experience. You want to go and play, and that's how you get better. That's how you become a first-team player, is by playing. And these little 5 minutes here, 6 minutes, wherever it may be, is so much for these young players, and it means so much to them. And it will live with them, and it will help them get those experiences. And again, it strengthens our own squad to make. He's now a first-team player. He's a Champions League player, and that's what you want.
And we've talked about already, of course, Phil Foden's brilliant goal tonight. We can now hear what he's got to say.
Phil, well done. What stood out about this victory here in Athens that gets you through to the knockout stage?
Yeah, I think this result today means that we qualify for the next round, which is really important for this club. But yeah, fair play to them. They came out fighting in the second half and made it hard for us. So we did well to dig in at the end and get the result.
Talk about the build-up and your goal, the back heel from Raheem.
Yeah, he's a great player in them areas, and yeah, somehow he see him and pulled the back heel off you, and it's great to play with him. And yeah, thanks for the assist.
Are you aware that whenever you score, City never lose?
No, not really. Is that true? It's good then, isn't it? Yeah.
And this is kind of your first achievement, isn't it, of the season, getting through to the round of 16?
Yeah, definitely. We haven't had the best results in the league, but it's good to see that we're doing the right things in the Champions League and getting the right results, which is really important.
Would you like more goals? You had more than 20 shots again today, like Spurs. Just the one goal. Could it be more?
Yeah, it's some of that we need to work on, scoring more goals in games. But, we create the chances. And, yeah, hopefully one day we can get there and finish enough chances to win the game comfortably. But I believe that we can do that.
Safe travels. Thank you.
Stay on that one, mate.
Phil Foden there speaking after it was his goal that sealed the deal for Manchester City, meaning they're through to the knockout stages of the Champions League. And something interesting from that interview right there, whenever he scores, we've never lost a game. I mean, that's a lot of pressure, Paul, isn't it?
It is, so more goals, please, Phil, if that's the case. I love the fact that he didn't know that, though. That just shows you us selfish strikers. We would have known that already, but and being a midfielder and being an unselfish type of player, that great stat to have, though. It
is indeed, and they did talk about the awareness a little bit from the assist from Raheem Sterling. I've mentioned it time and time again, but it blows my mind how this team just seem to know where the other players are going to be at every single moment, Richard. In training, do you think that's what they're working on, where they're going to be running in and out?
I think so, yeah. I think from people who have looked at Pep and looked at his training and his matches and stuff, he seems to go into those sort of fine details, and the players will know if the ball's in this situation, you go here and you be prepared to receive the next one. So I think it's something that they do work on, and again, they're really good players, so they understand the game, they understand what situations they should be in.
So he's scored in 18 games now, 17 wins and 1 draw. And now I'm really annoyed at that interviewer for telling him. I feel like I didn't want him to know that. But also something else he did bring up, if we are, looking for improvements, as I'm sure Pep will be doing as well, as they said to Phil there, we did have 20 plus 22 chances and only 1 goal. So that does remain something to focus on, Paul.
Yeah, it does, and look, people are always going to focus on it, and the longer it goes on like that, and it's been on and off like that this season. Previous seasons, it's not been a problem. We've been blowing everybody away in the goal scoring charts, and I honestly do think it's just a matter of time. I think the big worry is if you're not creating chances and not creating good chances, that's when you've got to try and find a problem to solve that. But the players we've got, and I think especially with Sergio coming back and Gabriel getting more game time, and we keep creating the chances with they two effect that no doubt about it that the goals will come.
Well, there's plenty of games and there's also plenty of opportunities for us to score those goals. Do you feel like, in a way, that maybe Manchester City have shot themselves in the foot? Because in previous seasons, they've scored so many goals that now they're not scoring as many, that people are comparing them to them last season or the season before.
Yeah, I think the expectations are sky high, aren't they? Everyone judges them on the 100 goals they've scored in previous years, and you want to see it. And it's a case of the players aren't getting a run of games. You know, Aguero and Jesus have been injured for so long, and they're trying to get up to that rhythm and get back and playing regularly. And like Paul says, once they're playing on a regular basis and the team is gelling again better, the goals will fly in and it'll be all over.
It's one of them. Whatever we do, we can't win. You know, people are on about last couple of years about not sorting out the centre half position, and defensively, look, apart from Tottenham at the weekend, defensively we've looked really good and a lot better. And sometimes you've got to sacrifice a little bit for that to happen. So, but once we get it, both sides of it together, wow.
22 shots, so what, 22 chances created with no Kevin De Bruyne on the pitch. We're always talking about how good he is, but this just proves that we can do it without him playing as well.
Yeah, the structure of the team is brilliant, and it allows that. There's no real superstar, I suppose, where you look and you go, well, if we don't have him playing, we're going to be in trouble, because the team works for itself. That's the king almost, where they all play in the positions, they all understand the tactics, and from what they do on training relates to what they're doing in games, and regardless of who's playing, the opportunities are still being made available.
They are indeed, and there's 2 games left of the Champions League group stage, which feels a bit strange to say when you've got 12 points already, 4 wins in 4, 10 goals scored, I think it is, only 1 conceded. What do you do for these last 2 games, Paul?
Look, whatever team goes out there, Pep will want to win, and I think the main thing is topping the group, not just qualifying. And you know, players that are going to be coming in, if he can afford to rest, players are going to be hungry. They want to show the manager that they're fit and ready for all the other games coming up. And you know, knowing the mentality of the squad and the club now, you know, it's not just 4 games, 4 wins out of 4 in qualifying. They want to win all 6.
But this is always the aim, isn't it? To get the first 4 in the bag, win them, so you qualified. So at least, yes, you can breathe a bit when this busy time of year, like Kyle was alluding to there. We've still got the other 2 Champions League games. We've got the League Cup coming up, all the Premier League games, and then in January the FA Cup starts again. So it is great to have this sealed as quick as you possibly can.
It is. It's important, and it gives everyone a boost, because you know you've got something to look forward to after Christmas. But you can't go into these games and not take them 100%, because you want to go now on a run where it's 25 games unbeaten or 30 games unbeaten, and losing those games, although they're not important in terms of points, they damage the confidence. So it's important to treat them well.
And that will start with Burnley on Saturday. We know that it's not always easy facing them, and they can be defensively solid, let's put it like that. Paul, do you think that Manchester City have got what it takes to continue this form and take it really into the Premier League? Yeah,
I do, and they'll want to go on another run. You know, earlier on this season, obviously the Leicester game was a big setback, but then we bounced back and went unbeaten 7-8 games after that, and obviously the defeat against Tottenham at the weekend, winning tonight, that they'll want to put together another mini run leading up to Christmas. And Burnley will be difficult, they always are. You know, they picked up their first win of the season the other night there, so they'll be confident, but much more of tonight, get Aguero, Jesus fire, and then our record against Burnley is usually pretty good.
I'm really looking forward to the game as well, but also for the We're Not Really Here show, because for the first time we've got Kevin Horlock as a guest, and I mentioned that to you both at half time, and you both know him well. What are we expecting from Kevin Horlock when he's on this sofa at the weekend?
The unexpected. Trust me on that.
Now, as you mentioned, we are back on Saturday for We're Not Really Here. It does return as Manchester City take on Burnley at the Etihad. 3 o'clock is that kickoff, so we will be back from 2 p.m. I am here, and I'll be joined by Kevin Horlock, plus other guests as well. Now, something a little different, though, to end the show. British musical icon and Man City fan Liam Gallagher is set to make a biblical return to performing with the announcement of Down by the River Thames. Now, we all know how much of a big fan Liam is. You guys must have some stories of him watching you play, or maybe you going to see him, Paul?
Yeah, well, about 18 months ago, wasn't it? We were lucky enough to get invited to the NMEs, and Liam got his, I can't remember what his award was called.
The Godlike Genius.
Yeah, Godlike Genius Award, which was
well-titled for him.
Well-titled and well-deserved, and he'd done a little set at the end, and it was magnificent, wasn't it?
Yeah. He's brilliant, and you try and pick what's your favourite song. They're all brilliant, and that's why he wins awards like that, and that'd be an amazing show to go and see.
It will indeed. Now, as I said, we will be back on Saturday, but that one-of-a-kind virtual event will be streamed globally on Saturday, the 5th of December, and the tickets are available at Live Nation.